I know it and I've got it in my head, but obviously I'm kicking back into old patterns.
Our default.
The default. And I want it not to happen that way, but it's obviously still happening. So I'd love to know what I can do better for me and better for my team and others when I'm interacting to get them to that. And I know there's the tips and techniques here, but it's so easy to go into default.
I'm often amazed by how much wiggle room there is in our language. Think about this. When was the last time somebody said to you, let's have lunch sometime? Now, I'll tell you what, if you ask when, you will find out whether that was a real question or something that was a polite comment. A lot of times, asking when or by when tells you whether you've got wiggle room or an authentic action that's going to take place. By eliminating wiggle room, here's what it does. It allows you to tie down accountability, action, and time frames, and that's what produces results. One of the main concepts for a high-performance team is if one person fails, we all fail. Now, when you think about it that way, what does that mean we have to do in a high-performance team? If one person fails, we all fail means what?
Well, we all have to be 100% accountable for everybody's success.
Yes, so we have to work together so that I know that Larry, if he's struggling with something, I can't just leave him alone and let him struggle. I've got to be his partner, correct? Coach him, hold him to account, be a committed partner, whatever it takes so that we all work together. Now, to be a high-performance team, it really means, here's the authentic part of it. We have to be willing to openly talk about our blind spots. You see, if we can't identify our blind spots with one another, then we can't grow and learn. Does that make sense? So how many days have we been together?
4 days.
4 days, and we're getting to know each other, correct? Yes. Do you think we're having different types of conversations now on day 4 than we did on day 1?
Yes.
What's the difference?
A lot more interaction, a lot more trust, a lot more, it's just more authentic. And we're a lot more committed, I think, to the results.
Now, do you think we're ready to talk about blind spots?
Yes.
Yeah, they say yes. Okay, let's start with what is our default behavior. Default behavior means a blind spot. Now, we've got 6 of them up front. This is the question I'm asking. When you are under stress or when you have a reaction, we tend to go to one behavior or another. Do you go it alone? And go it alone would mean you just, focus on your agenda, what you need to do alone. Shrink the game. Somebody tell me what shrink the game means.
Go stand in the sidelines rather than be present.
That's right. Stand in the sidelines or focus on a very small area rather than enterprise perspective. What does wait and see mean?
Hold back.
Exactly. Hold back. Don't contribute fully. How about conspire against?
You talk to other people around you and try to get them to see your side, so you're almost just conspiring against the other.
Right. Hallway conversations, right?
Right.
The organizational wildfires. That's a default behavior. How about attack and destroy? Why do my eyes look at Mike? I don't either.
It's when you're listening for what's wrong with an idea as opposed to what might be taken out of the idea and built on.
Yes, it's the difference between listening for the idea or the commitment. This is listening against, attack and destroy. Excellent. How about be silent? What behavior is that? What does that mean?
Taking yourself out of the picture.
Yeah, just withdrawing emotionally, withdrawing intellectually, just moving completely away. All right, what do you think my blind spot is? What's my default behavior when I feel under stress, et cetera, because I'm going to ask you the same questions, but you can see my blind spot better than I can see my own. I have an opinion about mine, but your opinion in high performance is much more what than mine? Your opinion is what?
The truth.
More important, more relevant, more accurate than mine. Self-assessment in high performance simply is not valid. So, what do you think my blind spot is?
He said, if I had to guess, I'd say I was going it alone.
Oh, if you had to guess.
If I had to
He
take
says
a
that
guess.
with tongue in cheek. Yes. Anybody else? Would you say that? Yeah. I'd say that's definitely my default. And when I started 4 days ago, when I came into this, I told you how I felt, that I started to feel a lot of accountability. I felt stressed about what we had to accomplish, so my stress levels go up. Rather than embracing other people and including a big team, I shrink it down and I focus on going alone and what do I have to do. Now, that is not a high-performance behavior. That's my blind spot, my default behavior, and then what it does is then everybody feels like they're not part of the team, correct? Right. That's a blind spot. Excellent. Thank you very much.
Now, what do you, let's take a look at your blind spot. So anybody speak up. Tell me what your blind spot is. And then the group can feedback whether you think it's something else or something different.
I've been known to use all 6 now and again.
You've been known to use all 6?
To be honest. I guess I probably tend to go it alone. It's the determination, the drive. I just kind of put my head down and
agenda.
just,
yeah, like I would,
like a
right?
bull in a china shop. Yeah.
I don't think I've practiced the be silent. I should probably try that more often. But go it alone, definitely. Because I try to, at a certain point, I'm just forget about everything else. I'm going to go get this done and drive this ahead.
So that's resignation that comes in, isn't it? Resignation, it sounds like what you're saying there, Janita, is that you get resigned. It's not going to happen with a team. It's not going to happen in partnership. But I can make it happen myself, and I will. So that's that drive that will. Notice the I is a capital I on go it alone. I will make it happen. I will get it done. No matter what, it will happen. But it's an I. And in business, what happens when our I dominates?
It's all about me instead of the game.
It's all about me instead of the game. And what type of results do we produce?
Competent results?
Competent at best, certainly not high performance, because we're not using all the ability of everybody else, and we're not going across functions. There are a lot of limitations to working with I. Good. Other blind spots. What are your blind spots?
I'm a combination of go it alone and be silent. Mostly go it alone.
Mostly go it alone. Although I could see be silent for you, and I don't know you very well, but I could guess that might be.
No, not for long, though. I'll
Not
go
for
silent
long?
for a while,
Oh,
and,
okay.
then I'll come out maybe a little bit of number 5.
Attack and destroy, right? Okay.
I would tend to be go it alone, wait and see, and be silent, depending on which issue is on the table. If it's something that is mine, away I go it alone. If it's someone else's, I might just sit back and let it go.
Yes, okay, good. So even our default behavior changes slightly depending upon what has been triggered for us. Good. What about you, Larry?
For me, it's the wait and see.
Okay, so you'll go to the sidelines, wait and see what's going to happen.
Yep.
Good. Now, who haven't we heard from?
Like Larry, probably wait and see is one of my blind spots, and sometimes I tend to stay on the sideline, look at what's going on, and then wait to hack or do something about it. An example of that, sometimes I could avoid giving feedback to people and say, oh, we'll just get better.
Yes, so rather than step up and coach somebody or give them feedback or hold them to account, you'll wait and see what will happen.
Yeah, and maybe just wish it will just turn out right.
Because it's more comfortable not to do it, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, these are the default behaviors protect us from having to take accountability. Who else haven't we heard from?
Mine, and that's probably telltale in itself, and that be silent, I would say, is probably
As you were being.
So there you go, and that's the tendency I have, is to just not to say anything.
And did we hear from you?
I'm guilty of all 6, although not very often on the be silent part, but I'm probably most guilty of attack and destroy.
And how does that show up for you? What do you do? Verbally debate or argue or?
Yeah, it's about being right.
Oh, excellent point. Now, did you know that about yourself as a blind spot, or do you know it more now since you've been engaged in the conversation about 100% accountability?
I knew one of my core values is to be competent and to produce results, and so I very strongly motivated to be right in the sense of producing a high level of results. The part that I wasn't really aware of was the impact that was having on people. And so, I'm much more aware of it now that there was a trail of wounded.
Trail of dead bodies and wounded that had to be recovered, huh?
Well, mostly just shot.
Mostly just shot?
Yeah.
No suffering.
No suffering.
And that's what happens in organizations. Now, let's take a look at these blind spots. Where have your blind spots been operating during these last 4 days? Because really, the moment we get into a discussion about 100% accountability, the dialogue itself is transformational. I say that you cannot be in a conversation about high performance or 100% accountability authentically and not have it change how you think and how you behave in a very short period of time. So for me, it's altered me in these last 4 days. I noticed that I've raised the bar on myself, that I've seen my own behavior change, and it's out of being with you and having this dialogue with you. So you're contributing to me in ways that I cannot articulate and define in conscious ways, although I know it's altering how I'm interacting and how I'm leading. So I know it must be doing it for you too. So what has happened to you specifically? So now I'm having an in-the-moment conversation, not about the past, but about right now. What has happened to you during these last 4 days where you have seen yourself transform yet again?
I found that on the first sessions I was taking a wait-and-see approach because although I said I was in the game, I found myself sort of sitting back and doing the smiling and nodding and waiting for things to happen. Whereas now I feel like we're all conversing and into it, and that I'm here, and it's an evolving thing.
Yes, and now I bet, Louise, you'll be able to notice a lot quicker when you wait and see to catch yourself. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And that's what this segment is on, practice and recovery. It's not that we're perfect. We're not even on the journey to be perfect. We don't want to be perfect. All we want to do is, can we catch our blind spots? Can we catch our default behavior with our partners or even by ourselves and recover quickly? When we're stressed out or we're frustrated, we have a tendency to go to automatic behaviors. And John, you've heard us talk about them before as default behaviors. So what is your default behavior when you're under stress?
My primary one, Loretta, is go it alone.
So you go it alone. What does that mean? You do what?
Basically, I'm saying, okay, I think I need to know, or I need to go down a particular route. I move down a particular path.
And whether anybody's with you or not, at that point, it's not relevant. You're moving.
I'm moving.
Okay.
Good or bad, I'm moving.
Now, what have you learned through your cultural practices about what you need to do when you catch yourself going it alone? Who do you need to talk to? What actions do you need to take?
Well, I guess the first question I have to ask myself, why am I going alone? Why am I feeling all alone in this? And then I have to basically create a dialogue and say, okay, here's where I'm going. Let people know, because my primary default mechanism, as you know, is go it alone. But I also can go silent and just move forward. And I wonder why there's no one behind me to support me on whatever initiative I'm moving forward on.
So when you find that you're going it alone, do you speak from the heart and tell people what feeling is underneath that, such as, I'm frustrated, I'm upset, I'm concerned, I'm disappointed? Do you speak from the heart at that point?
Another work in progress.
Okay.
From the perspective, I never used to do that. I just say, okay, people will figure it out in time. I think I got the answer to this, and just move forward. The feedback I've got, though, is, John, we can do this and do this better together. And it comes back to your blind spots, quite honestly. And one of my blind spots is going alone. So now I get the feedback. It's time for me to pause, take the opportunity to say, and here's why we need to go down this particular way, and build that alignment, build it up front, not wait for it to come, may or may not come at some later time.